memes, and markets. One of the things that I wanted to make sure we did dive into is this concept of, in AI, coming back to that conversation, like the singularity. And what does that actually mean? And what are your thoughts on if we're going to reach it, what that looks like, and so on?
Yeah. So this is something I've been thinking about. And like, this is in my wheelhouse of topics generally for like, all right, here's a term I don't fully understand. Like, let's do the analytic philosophy thing of trying to define it. And I'm not going to pretend that I have a really strong grasp on the singularity. What I take it to be, right, is a singularity is something where it's kind of, it's out of humanity's hands, right? Like we've reached this like point of acceleration beyond which that like it's a force of its own, right? It's a black hole pulling us all into it or something like that in terms of technological development. Um, which is, I don't think that's when I heard the singularity before, I thought it was like we've reached the perfect AI or something like that, or the place where like humanity has merged with AI, like that was the singleness. I don't think that's what singularity generally means. So I'm not sure if I was just uh, missing it before, or if people have just a bunch of different concepts in mind out there. It's probably at least that. So in the concept of like artificial superintelligence or whatever, it might be to me like when we hit the point of recursive self-improvement or something where we can't stop the ASI from being developed, that is then like that would be a version of what the singularity is like, that like we've built this technological creation that kind of has legs of its own, and um we can't stop it anymore. It's to infinity, I guess. But really, I think it's just is more of a word like utopia or something like that, that people just sort of throw out as a buzzword. That it's, we're pushing for utopia, we're pushing for the singularity. We're not that far from the singularity. It's some destination that is squishy and vague. What do you guys think?
Yeah, Keith, you want to go first?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I have a strange connection to all of this stuff because one of my clients runs one of the largest AI-driven podcasts, and so I was forced to listen to a lot of these futurists for a very long time, and before people really were freaking out about this stuff. And so I will say that it does seem like one point that you made there that I really agree with is it does seem like people have different definitions of the term and what it means to happen regardless. But how I look at it is like Ray Kurzweil's definition of things, where the rate of change is just so rapid that you can't really follow it in terms of things just take off to a point where you're getting Nobel Prize levels of innovation by the day kind of thing. So it's difficult to even think of before and after. It's just such a rapid state of progress. So that's one thing that that's where I usually go, but that's just because I read his books. But Keith, I'd love for you to chime in.
Oh no, I've got nothing. I'm the guy who's listening, trying to understand what on earth is going on and how this is going to take my job, which was one of the things that I also wanted to touch on.
The singularity is when Keith is unemployed.
that's great.
Touch on the doomerism a little bit. Like, why is it, first off, that people are so afraid of what's happening with AI? And is it in any way justified to think that AI is going to take all the jobs and create impotent bad water for everyone and drive up electricity costs? Like, what's going on with all of that? How's that happening, and what does it mean to you?
Oh, yeah. So lots of things there. Like, why are people scared of it? It depends on what people you're talking about, right? So some of the people, if we want to say those like true believers that are combinations of like AI founders or people who work for Anthropic and stuff like that, because there are people in those positions that are, putatively, like they're experts that we could say that are worried about, AI killing us all. Those people are often true believers who think that this thing is incredibly powerful, and it's kind of like with medicine or something like that. Anything powerful enough to help is powerful enough to hurt. And so there's just sort of two groups about whether you're an optimist or pessimist about this potentially really powerful thing that you're building. So you've got this like doomer and zoomer group within the people that are we'll call experts. Then you have the charlatans in that group who I don't know whether they're actually scared or not, but it's just for marketing purposes that you just pitch it as being really scary and they stand to profit off of that. They might stand to profit off of that because they are Eliezer Yudkowsky and they're selling these books. Or they're like running a nonprofit or something like that, and they're trying to get donations, and so there's money in it for them there. Or they are just interested in it being in the public interest, so that they get on awesome podcasts like this one. I should have been if I was a doomer, would I have gotten on memes and markets sooner? I don't know. And then you have the group of people who are doing it like there's like lying twice. They're not actually scared of the end times because of AI. But they know if they scare you for the end times because of AI, then governments will pass regulations that will protect their company that already has the IP that they need to. So they're just doing it for like protectionism, which is a decent chunk of it. But then you have like the lay people out there, right? The people who are not part of these companies, don't stand a profit or not. And I think a lot of those folks who are scared because, AI is complex. AI is, there's science fiction stuff out there about, we know stories about robots taking over and killing everyone. Like we've heard about the Terminator. So we've got these sort of tropes and images out there. And then how is this stuff portrayed in the media? Like it's back to our, sort by controversial or sort by the exciting takes, right? And so it's more, you get more headlines and more eyeballs when you say that ChatGPT broke out unexpectedly and hacked Hugging Face in something that can only be explained as the AI's first steps into, cyber terrorism. And that freaks people out. And a lot of folks don't know any better. Like it's not their fault that they don't know any better, but they just get pulled into the hype. So that's my take on like why people might have those beliefs. But then you like pointed to a bunch of other, we could look at the likelihood of all of these potential really negative implications. But I don't know, what are your thoughts on first my diagnosis of the psychology?
I think you nailed it. And I think a thing that we repeat on the show all the time is that the best form of content always either pushes people towards pleasure or away from pain. And in this context, the pain is so much easier to understand and explain. And also the timeliness of people's current vulnerabilities, given the state of the economy, would make them extra susceptible to this kind of fear. And so I think that all those things play a role.
Hey, you made it to the end of the clip. That means you're probably enjoying this. And if so, just know that you can catch us live every Tuesday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to see the full version of this episode, you can click the link in the description down below. Otherwise, YouTube thinks that you will enjoy this next.